Hi, it's me again. I've got a little secret that I want to let you in on, which it's not really a secret, but it's something that most of us don't realise, and that's the fact that we are all creators. We've got an incredible amount of creative energy within us. Um, and if you think about it, successful people that the world, the society consider to be successful. These billionaires, these big moguls of industry and business, celebrities, um, whatever a celebrity is, famous people, artists, people who we consider to have accomplished and achieved great things in this world. They all really, they've got one thing in common. They believe they can do something and then they just sort of kind of go and do it. Okay, there's lots of different paths to success, and some people go through all kinds of difficulties to be successful, whatever success means in this world. And I'm not really particularly concerned about the concept of success as the world sees success, because for me, success is to live the sort of a life that's fulfilling, that's satisfying, that we enjoy, and at the end of our lives, we can look back and say, you know what, I didn't waste my time here. I achieved things. But see, the problem is that we all settle for for much less than we're actually able to create. We all settle for much smaller than we're really able to accomplish. Now, take the story. You all know the story of Aladdin and his lamp, for instance. So, yeah, Aladdin's there in the desert, in a cave, wherever it is, and he finds this little lamp. And when he rubs it, out pops the genie. And the genie says to him, I'm going to grant you 3 wishes. Whatever you want, whatever your heart desires, have three wishes. Um, no, okay. I mean, the obvious first wish would be, okay, give me an unlimited number of wishes. But of course, that never quite pans into the story, does it? He's limited to these 3 wishes. Now, I mean, the genie could, Aladdin could wish for anything. World peace, world domination, if he's that way inclined. As much food as he and his family could ever eat, whatever. But you know the story. He wishes for different things, and it's a story as much about our human existence and the nature of our will and our desires and things like that. I won't bore you with the details, but just imagine yourself in a situation, and the genie pops up, and you're scratching your head thinking, what the hell? What should I wish for? Should I wish for this? Should I wish for that? And the genie says to you, okay, I'll tell you what. Here's my suggestions. You really should go for these things, right? You want a really good job. You want a really nice house, and you want £1 million in the bank. And you say, you know what, genie? That's a fantastic idea. I'm going to go for those things. But of course, the nature of desire and one will and ambition and things like that is such in the human condition that when you get what you want, as in something kind of material possessions or whatever, or ambitions, the nature of the human existence is we always want more, don't we, afterwards? But guess what? The creative energy that's inside you does not need to be limited by somebody else's idea of what success is. And effectively, what you've done is you've sold yourself out to the genie's idea of what the best things were to wish for. You know, you base your life's ambitions and desires on what you think is the best. You don't dream big enough, really. You settle for something much smaller. We all do it. Now, the secret that really, the people that people look up to and they're impressed by, shall we say, I think, wow, that person, what a fantastic life they led. That's amazing. The secret that they found is that they are creators. They can create their own reality. They don't sort of think, oh, I wonder what does my next door neighbour's got a good job. The guy down the road's got a really nice house. So and so, they go on 3 foreign holidays a year. That's what I want. That's what I'm going to set my sights on. And they spend the rest of their life trying to emulate somebody else. Now, one of the great things about meditation, for me personally, is it clears away so much crap inside my head. So many thoughts that are going around, so many stupid ideas. It helps me to see the bigger picture. It helps me to see that I don't have to be limited by the limitations that we put on ourselves. We seem to think that we should not dream too big, we should not desire too much, because we're only going to get disappointed. We're only going to get disappointed. Disappointment actually comes from expectations, okay? But I'm not talking about ambitions and dreams that are things that are really driving forces from in our hearts. What I'm talking about is we have expectations. In other words, we expect the universe, the world, other people, society to give us certain things. We have expectations of them. And when you have expectations, you're going to be disappointed because you're going to be let down by those people, by those situations, by society, by the world around you generally. You're going to be disappointed because you had expectations. Okay? Much better to have an intention. You have an intention to achieve something. And people who successfully achieve things, I hate using that word success really. I'm not going to use the word success. People who can look back on their lives, and other people can look back on their lives and say, wow, what a great person, what a fantastic life they lived, what a fulfilled person. One thing they've got in common is they're not really listening to what other people are telling them about. You shouldn't do this, you should lower your expectations, you should avoid disappointment by lowering those expectations. Like I said, you've got an incredible amount of creative energy within you. You are a creator, okay? If you only could comprehend how much power is contained within us as humans, we're really sort of unbound. We've got so much power of creativity in us. And we look, in Eastern, in Hindu philosophy, they understand the chakra system in the body, and the sacral chakra which is the second one up, the orange chakra, represents the creative power, if you like, that's in us all, and the power that flows through us is quite incredible. So those people that have achieved things, their heart's desires, and done things that we're all kind of impressed by, have kind of, they have not necessarily understood the philosophical side of it, but they've latched onto something. The penny's dropped and they've realised they've got this creative energy inside them. I'm going to take a step further. I'm going to say we need to tap into the energy that surrounds us, the energy of nature, the energy of the universe. Now, if you fall in a river, you've got a current, and it could be a fast flowing river. It's pretty obvious that if you swim against the stream, you're not going to get very far very fast. If you really want to go with the flow and the power of that flow, of that river, you flow in the direction that that's going. Meditation, when we strip back our own egos, our own preconceived ideas, our own limited small-mindedness, the box that we put ourselves in, the dreams and aspirations of other people, when we strip those back, we can take our limitations off. If we can get into the flow of what the universe, of what the divine is taking us towards, if we get into that, if we can get into that flow, and if we can be quiet enough to listen to our own hearts and what our own heart is really telling us, if we start to tap into the destiny, our real purpose in life, if we start to listen to the still small voice that's speaking in our hearts, then we might start to find that we get some new ideas coming into our heads, which could be quite scary at times, and they could seem like they're unattainable. They could seem like, oh my God, I could never do that. That's just totally out there. I could never, But the point is, the thought, I can't do this, it's impossible, it's too much, it's too big, it's too great a dream, it's too great a plan, that's come from some external source. Somebody, something, society, your teachers, your parents, your friends, social media, television, Hollywood, the news, whatever, has conditioned you to think that there are limitations on you, which quite frankly, I'm going to tell you, they're illusory, they're not really there. You don't really have those limitations. You can achieve almost anything if you are aiming in the right direction, if you're going towards the thing that you really know is the thing that you should be doing in life. Okay, we've all got dreams, we've all got ambitions. We usually settle for something a lot smaller, and the reason is we don't sort of have the courage. Okay, you could talk about a leap of faith. I could use the word faith because that's something that we kind of relate to. It's a bit of an airy fairy thing, isn't it? But all faith is trust. Okay, what's your trust in? Is your trust in the society in which we live? It says you can do so much, you can achieve this much, you can get to this level in life, in society, but any more than that is too much? Or what are you trusting in? A universe which is vast and expansive, absolutely mind-bogglingly big, absolutely mind-bogglingly powerful, absolutely beyond what you can imagine. Okay? And if you take it down to the macro, microscopic level, our bodies, a leaf on a plant or a seed or something, the potential in these things and the complexity of them is absolutely astounding. A tree doesn't say, I can only grow so big, so tall, have so many leaves, because any more than that, that would just be too much for me. No, it just operates, it just does that. And one of these trees has come from a little tiny little seed. It gets, the size that it reaches is incredible. An oak tree can go on growing for more than 1,000 years. Olive trees could grow for thousands of years. I'm just using that as an analogy, the fact that you and I have got so much incredible potential within ourselves, but we limit ourselves. Through meditation and living a lifestyle that makes meditation a part of it, and I don't just mean sitting down sort of once a day on a cushion and being silent. I'm talking about going through life with an attitude of meditation. You start to see the world in a different light. You start to see the world in a different way, and you start to realise the nonsense that we tell each other and we tell ourselves, the things that we buy into, the superlatives that we imagine are there. Oh, this is the very best, and this is the worst, and this is the best, and whatever. And it's nonsense. There is no best or worst. The best is always yet to come. There's always something bigger, greater, higher than what we've already seen. That's, if you don't know that, you don't know history. There's always somebody going to do something better than somebody else did. There's no reason for us to limit ourselves. And the times in my life when I've kind of had these kind of eureka moments, if you like, and I've just suddenly thought, it's almost like, the blinkers have suddenly fallen off, and I've suddenly thought, oh my God, I've got this idea, this dream, this ambition to do something. I'm just going to go and do it. And I've just gone and done it. In 2014, I started a business with the lady that was to become my wife, and a year later I said, because we had a successful open mic night going, I said, you know what, this town needs to have a fringe festival. I'm going to do a fringe festival. I knew nothing about doing a festival. I knew absolutely nothing about it. I had no idea. I knew some musicians, I knew some people that did artwork and different things like that. But I just decided I'm going to do it. And it was kind of almost like throwing caution to the wind, really. It was like, let's just go and see what happens if we do it. And I was absolutely blown away, because it happened. It was fantastic. I had a fantastic response. So many people loved it, wanted to be a part of it. And I did it for a couple of years, and then I didn't have the business anymore and didn't continue with it, passed it on to other people. But that's just an example of the fact that if you really want to do something, you can make it happen. I know there's going to be a 100 reasons why your dream and the thing that you really want to do, or you feel that you should do, or is your destiny, your calling, whatever you want to call it. I know there's 100 reasons why you can't do that. You can't do it now, or it's not the right time, or it's not physically possible for you to do it. You know, you might want to go and sell your house and go and live in a caravan by the seaside. It might be your dream, but you'll tell yourself that you can't do it because of this, because of that, because of the other. We don't always have to listen to those voices. And you know what, when voices are telling you that you can't do something, you're not capable, it's not possible, you can't get there, you can't achieve that, you want to realise that, you want to analyse, you want to meditate, and you want to ask yourself the question, where's that voice come from? Who's telling me that? Where are those thoughts coming from? And when you get to the point where you realise that you are not your thoughts, we all get thoughts, they all come into our heads, okay? And a lot of thoughts are great and they're useful. But probably 90% of the thoughts that come into our heads are just dross, they're worthless, they're meaningless, they're pointless. Meditation can help you to identify those thoughts. It's not going to stop you from thinking, but what it's going to do is going to make you be aware of the thoughts. And when you're aware of the thoughts, you start to realise there's a separation. You're the awareness. The thoughts are just passing through, passing by. Okay? You can attach yourself to those thoughts. You can believe that those thoughts are you. You can believe that you have to listen to every thought that comes into your head, but you don't. What we need to start doing is paying a little bit less attention to the thoughts that are popping in and popping out of the head, and paying a bit more attention to what's really in our hearts. What's your heart's desire? What do you really want out of this life? What do you want to accomplish? What is the one thing? I'm not talking about money. I'm not talking about possessions. Okay, let's clear that up. I'm not talking, I'm not saying you can't have money and you can't have possessions, but what I'm saying is, what's your dream? What's the thing that really makes you switched on? What's the thing that you think, if I could do that one thing, and I tell you what, if it's something selfless, and if it's something that you would like to do for other people, to help other people, to enrich other people, to bless other people, then the chances are, if you can connect with the universe, the cosmic energy, the natural flow of energy that's in our lives, and if you can get in that stream and you can go downstream with it, and you've got good, noble sort of intentions of doing something good and worthwhile with your life, not just getting £50 million in the bank, but really doing something constructive that helps people, then you'll have 10 times more success with it than you would if it's something that's just to fritter away your life on just chasing after pleasure. Okay, you'll gain more pleasure actually from doing something for other people when you really get into it. Anyway, I don't want to bang on too much about this, but these are things that have just been going around in my head. But yeah, I mean, let me know in the comments if you agree with what I'm saying, if it makes sense. But as I've said before, don't just listen to me. Listen to your heart. Meditate. Get in the silence. Get with yourself. Start to listen to what your heart's actually saying to you. Start to listen to what the universe is saying to you, and you will be surprised. And when you tap into and when you align yourself with the energy that's out there in the universe, you'll realize that your potential is so astronomically bigger than what your tiny brain is telling you, and what the limitations that yourself, your society, your friends, your family have tried to put onto you. Go with your dream. Find what the dream is and go with it. Do it, and do it now. Don't put it off. Do it now. Okay. Take care. Namaskaram.